But let me respond. I just before we're out of time here, you talked about like people with disabilities being, that was a result of being cursed. This came up in my mind. When I was back in Michigan State back in the 80s, Tom, I dated this girl for probably about 5 or 6 months. We weren't really close. I mean, we weren't intimate. We played smoochy face every once in a while, but she turned out to be a very, very conservative evangelical. I didn't know this when I first started going out with her, but so we had conversations about God, and I asked her, okay, and I still ask this question, so what about my eyesight? What's God's role in me losing my eyesight? What's the purpose of my suffering in this best of all possible worlds? I don't understand, right? You know what her response was? She said, well, there must be some sin in your life somewhere.
Right, exactly.
And I said, sin in my life? I was born with this disease. And her response to that was even more outrageous. She said, you must have been conceived in sin then.
Yep.
That was her response.
Yeah, you're the offspring of a woman, and women, and Eve ate the apple, and women are the original sin. I've told you the story, Paul, of when I was down in Bogota, Colombia, and the Catholic Church had offered us some property down there, and we turned it down. But I went in to meet with the Archbishop, I think was his title, the head guy, and along with this woman who was working with the Salem organization at that time. And she deigned to speak to him. She said something like, will you give a dispensation to the pharmacists? Condoms and birth control were not illegal in Colombia, but nobody would sell them because they didn't want to go to hell. And she said, will you give a dispensation to the pharmacists to sell condoms? And he wouldn't talk to her. He turns to me and he starts pounding his fist on the throne and screaming as he's pointing his finger at me. Women are the cause of all this. They know when they're fertile. They know when they're not. It was a woman who ate the apple. And just this whole Eve is the source of, as we're both backing away from the guy. I mean, that's conservative Christianity.
Well, and that's also what I'm hearing. Believe it or not, I'm sorry to say, in parts of the Democratic Party, the condemnation of Hillary Clinton. She's the untrustworthy.
You're right.
Female. The things she's done, men have been doing, or that she's accused of doing, men get away with. But since she's a woman, this goes right back to Genesis. She's the untrusted woman, the Eve-bitten apple. Only a woman could do it. Only Hillary Clinton could be guilty of these kinds of things, and that's very disturbing because I hear that out of Democrats too.
Well, I
hear that out of some sort of rabid type of Bernie fans. I don't like to hear that from them.
I agree. But that's becoming essentially the official line of the Republicans, including Donald Trump. I mean, even, look at what Hillary did to those women who Bill, stepped out on. Like, it was all her fault.